Strength Warehouse presents Go Heavy or Go Home podcast. I am your host, Nate Boley. In this podcast, we talk about strength, fitness, nutrition, and all things Strength Warehouse related. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. We always enjoy you guys following us and listening and participating in our podcasts. Today's podcast, we're going to be interviewing a fellow personal trainer and gym owner, Josiah O'Malley, with the Good Fight Functional Systems. Is that correct?
Good Fight Functional Movement Systems.
Oh man, I hacked that one up. All right, well,
all good.
That's all right. Anyway, I'm just going to give him the floor and he can tell you a little bit about himself, and then we'll go into the podcast and the interview. So, hey, Josiah, welcome, and thanks for being on the podcast.
Sweet. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. So my name is Josiah O'Malley. I've lived in Central Oregon, specifically in Sun River, for like 6 years now. Grew up in the Valley, like Albany, Corvallis area.
There you go.
And yeah, I own a gym, Good Fight Functional Movement Systems. It's definitely a mouthful, but Good Fight Personal Training, Good Fight Systems. It's basically, there's not a whole lot in Sun River, so you can just Google.
You're the only
personal. There's one more,
okay.
Nobility, Austin.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy too.
He was a part of another gym here in Bend.
I think he was. I'm not sure which one.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Actually, I don't know. He's been there for a long time. Like,
okay.
He was there when I first moved there. I know he lives over in like Tumalo area, but yeah, super nice guy.
Cool. And he has a brick and mortar spot, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he owns Nobility Fitness, and I actually trained there for a little bit before COVID.
Nice.
So basically, I'm a gym owner. I've been doing this full time for about at least 10 years, something like that.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm also big into. I'm an archery hunter. That's what kind of takes up most of my time,
sure.
Especially in September.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows me, if my clients are listening, rarely am I in the gym in September. We take all September off.
Out in the woods.
Yep. And then I'm also a shed hunter, bear hunter, turkey hunter, chucker hunter outside of archery elk season.
That's awesome.
And then I'm a father and a husband to a beautiful wife and daughter. I've got a 1.5-year-old. Her name's Georgia, and that's about it.
Nice. How'd you get started in the into fitness in general, like for your own personal self?
I grew up wrestling in high school, and then I was fairly competitive. I wasn't like the best in the world, but
you're still trying.
I was still trying. I was still good, but I goofed off. I didn't take it super seriously.
Yeah.
I did like pretty well at districts and state, and then I snapped my leg in my junior year.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So
I didn't realize you did that.
Yeah. So I've got 2 plates and 21 screws in my leg, basically from my foot through my ankle all the way up to almost my kneecap.
In the tibia or fibula or both?
Both.
Both. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it was like.
Jeez, how'd that happen?
BMX accident in high school. It was like first week of high school. Like it was like half a week.
Yeah.
We took off on a Friday, went to go ride BMX bikes, and
snapped
my leg in half. And
dang, dude.
Yeah, so then
that's crazy.
Had a bunch of surgeries on that. I've got 2 plates and 21 screws in there, and it doesn't hold me back a whole lot, but yeah, it basically took wrestling off the table for me for
sure.
My senior year, and then got out of high school, and I tended to be like troublemaker, just kind of partied and got in fights, and
we talked about that a little bit off the record.
Yeah.
We won't go into that today.
Yeah.
That's a whole other podcast.
It's a whole other rabbit hole. But basically I was like, I need to do something. My plan was to go in the military, and then went a different route. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I still got to do something. So got my first personal training certification, and just started kind of the bodybuilding route. And then being 6'5", it's kind of hard to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah, it's not conducive to be a bodybuilder. Although Arnold, he did pretty good. I think he was 6'3" or something like that, right?
I'm not sure how. Maybe he just doesn't look tall because he's so jacked.
Yeah, it's just hard. Like as the taller you are, you have to add considerably more muscle to make it look like you're big.
Yeah. So, but I liked that. Did like the bro split. did a whole lot of bicep curls, and then kind of got into gymnastics and kind of like the plyometric stuff and just kind of taught myself, so I could kind of transition from bodybuilding type workouts to just like a bunch of volume with like pull-ups and dips and a little bit of cardio, but mostly that like eventually got into like muscle ups.
So you're transitioning more into a CrossFit at this point.
Well, so I hadn't done CrossFit yet. I just like.
So you started. That's the kind of like that was the segue or the bridge. Kind of.
So eventually I started doing CrossFit, but this was more like the stuff you see on like what's that beach in California?
Oh, Venice Beach.
Where they just do like the
calisthenics.
The calisthenics, the strict muscle ups, a whole bunch of dips. Like, I got to the point where I like my workout regimen was just like 6 days a week. I would do 10 sets with like a minute rest between each. Started out with like 4 pull-ups and like 6 dips. And got to the point where I was doing 10 sets. And basically my rule is like I wouldn't do anything on my first set that I couldn't do on my 10th set.
There you go.
So fairly easy.
Yeah.
But your body kind of builds up really fast when it's shit. Like
Absolutely.
your body can adapt to body weight stuff. Really, really quickly. So doing that or months and months, the next thing I know I'm like doing sets of like almost 30 pull-ups.
That's awesome.
Like sets of like 50 dips. So I was basically just working on those like strict gymnastics without a coach. So I was just teaching myself, and then
that's awesome.
That transitioned. So I was like, well, if I'm doing pull-ups and dips, I might as well do like muscle-ups, right? And I was teaching myself, so I wasn't in like the CrossFit or even the calisthenics world. So I was just teaching myself. So when I would do my pull-ups, I would always switch grip. For every set, I'd do pronated, supinated, or like pull-up and chin-up, basically. So then my transition was like, well, when I start to do bar muscle-ups, that's what I'm going to do too. So I would just do 10 sets, and I would do one set, I would do pronated muscle-ups, which everyone knows. And then I would do supinated muscle-ups, which I just figured was a thing.
I didn't even know you could do that. I guess,
So it's like a party trick now. Once I joined a CrossFit gym and realized that wasn't even a thing at all.
That's kind of interesting. So you go from here and then like push yourself up like that. Okay.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
To me, it was just like, obviously, if you're gonna do muscle ups, then
might as well do them both ways.
You can switch your grip too. You know, because it's basically you're just doing a pull up and a dip. And like I said, like I had so much like strength in those positions that there wasn't that like barrier of like technique, because I could just do everything strict. And then I think my parents owned or didn't own a CrossFit gym. They started going to CrossFit. And I was like, I'll try it out. And then I realized like I'm pretty good. Like from my my bodybuilding background, I was fairly strong. Didn't have like great technique, but like gymnastics, I could smoke anybody. You know what I mean?
Which is a huge part of CrossFit.
And so I started doing CrossFit, competing in CrossFit. And at this time, I really wasn't doing much with my personal training certification. At some point, I got my personal training certification while I was kind of in that transition of bodybuilding to that calisthenics stuff, and then but I wasn't really doing much with it. And then I ended up I started competing in CrossFit and basically got my CrossFit level 1. Which was kind of just a thing like, I'm gonna get my CrossFit level 1. Maybe I can coach someday, but really I was just like, I just don't want to pay for a membership. So basically the gym I was at was like, hey, if you're in class and I'm late or something, you start the class, or like if I get sick or I can't, like
you're like a bench coach basically.
So like I didn't really like have a schedule, but they're like cover classes and you can just work out for free.
That's
cool.
That's
sweet. Because again, I wasn't getting in fights still, but I was still partying. Didn't have a ton of money. I think I was an arborist at the time, so I was just climbing trees during the day, and
that's a hard job, man.
And then just drinking all night.
There you go.
Then working out between those things. So then I was competing CrossFit for a while, and then while I was competing, and I started kind of coaching more, and then I started working at a global gym in I think I started in Salem, actually, at Physique Fitness. It's like a chain. They've got like 5 gyms, I think. But then I moved to Albany. They opened up a location in Albany, so then I like started like full time there, because I was basically one of the only trainers that lived in Albany and was commuting. So I'm like, I want to work here. So I just like filled up my client load, learned a lot, was there for a while, and then while I was there, I got offered this job in Sun River, and I'm like, well, I don't love this job. Like, I don't own a house or anything, so there's no reason like why I can't move.
Yeah, pretty liquid at that point.
Yeah, so I was like, screw it. I take my dog and moved out here to Sun River CrossFit, which doesn't exist anymore. Kind of went through some ownership stuff, and then during COVID,
just completely melted down.
Yeah, melted away. But yeah, so I was working there. Met my wife. She owned a coffee shop there, which also kind of melted away during COVID. So then I met you while I was. I don't know if I was working at Sun River CrossFit at the time. I was maybe coaching
a little bit there, yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't full-time anymore. I was coaching. Geez, when I met you, I was coaching just about everywhere.
I think weren't you doing Code 541?
Yeah, Code 541, which they're the ones that took over Sun River CrossFit. So I was coaching Sun River CrossFit, helping out Code 541.
Coaching here.
They're great too. I was coaching here for you. And then I was coaching at Free Spirit, the
I remember
Warrior
that.
Gym. So
we just went to that not too long ago. It's a freaking cool spot.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
We've been taking our little daughter there. Dude, it's awesome. She loves it.
And the owners, Seth and Rachel, they're super, super nice too.
I haven't got to meet them yet, but hopefully soon.
So she teaches like a lot of yoga stuff.
Cool.
I'm not sure how many fitness classes they still do, but I was doing a lot of fitness classes over there.
The kid stuff, right? Or was it all?
There's adult stuff too. There's an adult fitness room there.
Got it.
It's like a yoga room and a fitness room.
Cool.
And so I was doing those classes, and then your classes. So basically, I was just like, and I was also doing some personal training over through like at Nobility, Nobility. So I just kind of brought some equipment in, but he also has his own equipment.
Sure. Yeah, you were just like all over the place.
Yeah, I was all over the place, just kind of getting in where I fit in. And then COVID hit. I mean, you shut down.
Yeah.
Free Spirit shut down, and I was like, I don't care about Cape Brown. I'm not going to shut down.
Yeah.
So I basically converted like the garage that's like attached to my house into a gym, and it's funny. I look back, and that was like 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've been getting memories lately of like what the like gym, because now it looks like a gym.
It looks legit. Yeah, I know. I was looking at it the other day. It looks good.
And now but I see memories, and I thought it looked like a gym back then.
It's just like one thing in a rack of weights.
Basically, only half the floor was like floored. Like the rest was like garage still.
For sure.
But I was totally fine with it.
Oh, you were stoked. You're like, this is the first iteration of my gym. I love it.
Yeah, and it's crazy to see now that I've been there for a while, just training full time out of there. When that happened, I just started training at my house. I've got a big Sprinter van that some people might have seen driving around that says Good Fight Functional Movement Systems, the mouthful. But I do mobile personal training out of there, and it's also kind of a billboard, so I don't do a ton of mobile stuff right now. But I mean, really what we do as trainers is kind of take our goals to kind of one of the huge benefits of being having personal trainers, everybody, or basically your trainer taking everything away from you. You know, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, you're not going to figure it out on your own when you have a coach.
Yeah, for sure. Basically, they walk in the gym and there's no agenda for them that they have to think about. So they just get told what to do.
Yep.
And mobile personal training kind of takes that a step further. It's like you don't even have to leave your house.
Yeah, you have to leave your house.
Yeah,
come to you.
I come. I bring equipment.
Yeah.
Set it all up and do a workout. Load it all up and
That's
get
cool.
out of there.
Nice. So you get to work out too, because you get to load and unload your stuff.
Exactly. And sometimes more than others, especially when it's like middle of winter and I have to take my truck instead of.
That's how I feel when I run a powerlifting meet. I'm like, you guys have no idea. You're lifting like 3 lifts on the platform, but I loaded every single piece of this equipment into my truck, drove it here, unloaded it, set it up. Now I got to break it down. It's definitely it's a passion for love, or whatever you want to call it. It's hard work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and sometimes you don't realize that you're like working until
because it's fun. It's fun. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, I feel like I got ran over by a train.
Yeah.
Well, because I probably moved more weights than all of my clients together.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Do you have any like fitness related goals or aspirations at this current thing?
So, I mean, really my my biggest, like I said, I've like competed in CrossFit. I probably weigh like 20, 25 pounds less than most I've ever weighed.
Yeah.
Which I've never been fat, but
Yeah.
like when I was competing in CrossFit, I definitely weighed a lot more.
Okay.
Had a lot more muscle.
Yeah,
to
for
pack
sure.
around.
It's hard when you're trying to do the stuff you're trying to do. Like,
Yeah, and when I'm like hiking all the time and packing out animals, like I don't want.
You don't
like,
want that extra body weight.
And I also don't want to like have any injuries.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I loved competing in CrossFit, but I mean when you're trying like CrossFit as it's written versus as it's written for stimulus is definitely different than CrossFit as a sport.
Competition, absolutely.
Yeah, and they're two very, very separate things. Like,
Absolutely.
And I'm not where I like want to compete CrossFit. I basically want to. I want to be able to train and demonstrate anything that anybody wants to learn.
Sure.
And be able to work on, like, show good form.
Yeah.
Etc. But
you don't want to have injuries for when out like you're doing your hiking and hunting and stuff like that.
I definitely don't want to get hurt. And then I'm also one of my clients and a hunt buddy now his name is Mike Stadniski, and him and his wife are just epic endurance athletes. Like he just qualified for like the winter triathlon for US, like Team USA.
That's cool.
He won like an Ironman triathlon a couple years ago, which is not for his age group, just like won.
Just won the whole thing.
Like an Ironman triathlon, like just the running part is a whole marathon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So we got signed up for a swim run race in July at Elk Lake. So
cool.
I've been swimming and running more, which
there you go.
Running kind of sucks with a bunch of metal in your leg. But
100%. Yeah, I don't have that, but I can already tell it would not feel good.
Yeah, I've been dealing with that, trying to get like some like prescription orthotics figured out, or some cortisone or something. Because every once in a while it's like just like
agonizing
pain. Which there's like it hurts all the time, but there's like difference between like old pain and new pain. And,
100%.
And like realistically, it probably is a 10 more than I realized because I have that old pain there that my brain just like blocks out. You know what I mean?
It's been there forever. Yeah.
But so really just stay in shape to pack out a couple bowls in September.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
And then do that swim run race.
That's awesome. Sounds cool, man. I know you do a lot of specialty stuff at your gym for personal training. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So my big thing is I, in theory, want to bridge the gap between like physical therapy and personal training, especially being in the Bend, Sun River area. There's a lot of endurance athletes. There's a lot of just
hikers, bikers.
Yeah, just really like high achievers.
Absolutely.
Like when it seems like people out here work hard, play hard. Like they want to snowboard like 100 days a year. Ski 100 days a year. They want like I said, my friends Heather and Mike, which I've trained them. I've trained Heather for longer. I've trained her for probably 3 years or longer.
Cool.
And then I started training Mike probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. But yeah, they're like they'll go on vacation. There's like a 50K trail run, and she'll go and like win it. You know what I mean?
On a vacation, she's
she's like,
go on vacation and then do a 50K.
Yeah. And then she'll like take her son to do like a 10K the next day.
Yeah.
And they're just insane, and that kind of lifestyle invites a lot of like aches, pains,
absolutely,
stuff, and lifeguards would be a lot less busy if everyone took swim lessons.
100%.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
Like, I like to be the kind of the swim instructor.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm trying to take the jobs out of the PT is what you're saying.
Yeah, and like their job isn't to fix the shit. It's to get them out of, or like it's not to fix the shit that's causing the problem. It's to get them out of the store, right? Or out of their door.
Yeah.
So like if you break your leg or if you have a heart attack, don't call me. Like if you're drowning, you don't call a swim instructor over to teach you how to.
You call the doctor or the life.
Exactly. Yeah, doctor. You call a lifeguard or they'll come save you. But their job isn't to teach you how to not fall in the pool and be a lifeguard again. It's their job is to get you out of the pool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which same thing with the doctor. They're not gonna teach you how to not mess up your shoulder again. They're not gonna teach you how to fix all the stuff that caused that, because it's probably like 3 steps down the line that
For sure.
that is the issue. You know what I mean? Like rarely when you hurt your shoulder is it because of your shoulder joint itself.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's everything else that supports it.
Yeah, it's like could be like your back or like
Same thing with the knee pains or ankles.
Yeah,
It's usually
glutes
something
or,
down the trail for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I like to bridge the gap and then basically I train like functionally. Like that's my top priority. Like whatever your goals are, first priority to me is like don't get hurt while you're in front of me, right? Especially coming from like
on my watch.
A CrossFit background. I mean, CrossFit's like a curse word in the fitness industry.
100%.
If you're not in the CrossFit industry. And coaching and competing in CrossFit for so long, while I was working in a global gym or like a box gym, whatever you want to call it, I was personal training at like a 24-hour gym. Which everyone outside of CrossFit talks shit about CrossFit. So like, if there's anything that relatively looks like something I've heard people assume about CrossFit, any of those like negative stereotypes, I shut it down immediately, right? So that's like my first goals. And sometimes I'm over the top of it, but I don't care. That's like I tell them that from the beginning. I'd rather hurt your feelings than you get hurt.
Absolutely.
So that's my top priority, and then I basically break fitness down to 3 or 6 movement categories. So like super functional, vertical push, vertical pull, horizontal push, horizontal pull, squat, and hinge, right?
Cool.
You need to be able to do all those to be like a functional human, right? So like, now sometimes it sucks. Like if you can't squat to depth, like if you can't sit in the toilet and get back up, and basically get your hip crease below the top of your knee with a stable foot, you're not gonna do half squats. Like we're not gonna train that tool. Now my job is to kind of keep it entertaining, so you're not like
hating every second of it.
Stabbing your eyes out because you're just going crazy, doing hip mobility for every session until we can squat. But I want to kind of figure out what tools you have access to, use those tools, and then, but like, I'm not gonna try to fix my car with a crescent wrench.
Sure.
I'd rather like take a whole blacksmithing setup and build a 14 millimeter socket to work on that, rather than feel like you're doing some work but you're not using the correct tool. And I'd rather not do any work until we can build that tool. You know what I mean? And then it becomes like a tool that is actually effective to use, and like, because those functional move patterns, if we can work through a full range of motion in those patterns, like they do like so much more than like the sum of the parts. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like half of the squat now, and I'm talking like general preparedness. I'm not saying it's like a hard fast rule. Like if you're a basketball player training to dunk, or training to jump a little higher, or whatever your sport is, or whatever your goals are. Now, those people who have those goals probably don't have any issues squatting to depth or hinging.
It's because they've done all the basic work and they're really good at it.
Yeah, their body, they can move like a human. They want to, like, I'm not saying these simple things are gonna, like, you have to only do that. Like, that's a big argument, right? Between, especially from a powerlifting side, like, what should a squat look like versus a CrossFitter or Olympic lifter? What should a squat look like? Two different things, right? But you need to be able to do that.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
There's definitely
if you can't
benefits.
squat past parallel, I've had this in my gym, and people I know, they're like, I got to load the barbell up to get to parallel. I'm like, no. If you can't body squat to parallel, there's no reason why you should be loading it.
You're
just asking for an injury for sure.
And like once you have that, there's no like, if you're training for a certain movement, maybe you don't need to train below parallel, but you need to be able to get there, right?
Absolutely.
So basically, once we check off those 6 tools, and like I said, it can be definitely frustrating. I kind of focus on like general preparedness, unless there are specific goals that like clients want to work on. So like, I mean, obviously, like really the general preparedness is great for like the endurance athletes. Like basically being like crash proof, being able to do that volume without getting beat up, or and like teaching your body to recover, like getting your joints stronger, and I see a lot of benefit like I see a lot of my clients like are surprised by the benefit they get from some of those things.
Doing the small stuff.
Yeah, and then I also train a little bit more specifically as far as like rehab goes when there is races coming up.
Sure.
Like definitely gonna like work on those opposing muscle groups, kind of strengthen those knees, especially like if you have like someone comes to me and they have a big hill like a trail race with a lot of elevation gain and loss, we're gonna make sure those feet are strong, those knees are strong, those glutes are strong.
Good.
But then, like as far as general preparedness goes, I love the idea of I love CrossFit in general. I love doing CrossFit. Like for me, I can go to a CrossFit class and get great stimulus because I like know how my body should be moving.
Sure.
I know it feels good. I think CrossFit takes a bad rap because it's really hard to do completely in a group setting.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not, and I feel like CrossFit gyms take a bad rap because people think that they're doing it wrong, I think it's just done incompletely.
I agree. So I will say the same thing about like any strength gym as well. There's good and bad boxes, and people who it just depends on how their perspective on it. And I think a lot of CrossFit gyms are taking like portions of what they want and using it that way instead of using it as a complete thing. Or like, and I think it's kind of great. It's like some CrossFit gyms are more cardio focused, and that's what they really shine on. Then you have other CrossFit gyms that are really strength oriented, and that's what they shine on, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that it's very difficult to put the whole thing together as a group setting.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different people that are at different levels.
Yep.
And it's really difficult to get those all together.
Yeah, and like, I love CrossFit, like, as it's written, like, as Greg Glassman, like, sees in his head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when Greg Glassman, like, designed CrossFit, essentially, he was training people in his garage. Like, it was all one-on-one.
Sure.
Like, there was no group classes.
No.
Like, and if there was group classes, they were all on the same page.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You could put me and, like, other people who've done CrossFit for a long time in any class, in any of one of these CrossFit gyms, right? And they'll be able to provide the correct stimulus to us, right? But it's that person that comes in and they're new or they don't have enough shoulder mobility and they haven't had a discussion yet, like, what's the protocol? If we're doing overhead squats and you can't get in a good position at the bottom, what's the protocol? You know what I mean? That's when you either have to sacrifice the rest of the class's workout, or
that one person's form.
That person like is just going to be doing something wrong, right? Like I don't want to bash on CrossFit because I love CrossFit as it's written, right? Constantly varied functional movements executed at relatively high intensity, focusing on mechanics, then consistency, then intensity. The whole eating meats, nuts, seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar. That's kind of my goal. Like, you could walk into one of my sessions with like one of my clients who's been seeing me for years, and it essentially looks like a CrossFit class with just that, right? Now she kind of has specific goals, so maybe one day it wouldn't really look like a CrossFit class. Maybe it'd look more like one of your sessions. Sure. And then another day it would look like she's doing a CrossFit workout just without anybody else there. That's cool. So that's kind of my goal. And outside of that, it's like whatever your goals are at the time of the year. I have a handful of clients who are also archery hunters. So like, I've got a range next to the gym that we'll have some, like, as we get closer to the season, they pick up the barbell less and throw in the pack more. And
you guys do any like pretend like you're hiking and then picking up the bow and shooting?
Oh yeah, so
that's
we
awesome.
we did some shooting like under pressure.
There you go. That's really good.
Elevated heart rate.
Because you know that's going to happen, right? You're going to be hiking along. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes you'll be hiking along, and all of a sudden you see that elk, and you're like, oh crap, I got to get the thing out and shoot. And not always am I in a blind or something hanging out somewhere.
And I think the biggest thing, probably the biggest difference, as far as just like the fitness aspect is, so I approach cardio kind of three different ways, which I feel like two of them are very common. It's like we're gonna, like, typically probably when you program conditioning, a lot of it's like monostructural, so you're doing like steady state stuff, kind of zone 2, maybe zone 3 stuff, But it's like your goal is to not let your heart rate get super jacked up for an extended amount of time.
Yeah.
And then the other way is kind of HIIT training or interval training, and we're going to jack heart rate up, and essentially all that time is wasted as far as cardio is concerned.
Yeah.
Right? We just want to jack your heart rate up and then bring it down while you're resting.
Yeah.
Right? Dig yourself in the hole and then
recover.
While you're resting. Now, from a hunter's point of view, a lot of times, really what I want to focus on, which is an art to really be able to do that. Like, it's kind of the same concept of interval training, but we're gonna dig yourself in the hole, like on purpose, not like we're doing a 10-minute AMRAP where, sure, it's intense, but you're kind of pacing yourself, right?
Sure.
You don't want to dig yourself in the hole and then try to climb back out. But like, I'll try to program workouts and the stimulus I want you to dig yourself in the hole and then do something that you can do but you don't want to do while you recover. You know what I mean? So like, we're gonna do like 40 seconds in the assault bike and just really dig yourself in the hole. But you have to like put yourself in, which is hard psychologically to do to a client, right? Like psychologically, this is your last set. This is the only thing you're doing, right?
Sure.
And I really want you to dig yourself in the hole. Don't pace it. And then when you get off, we're gonna do step ups with fairly light load, maybe like dumbbell cleans. And we're just gonna go back and forth until we get to that next 5-minute mark, and then you're gonna dig yourself back in the hole. And the goal is to like keep moving, shut up that voice in your head, and do something that, like, we already established in the beginning of the workout. Like, you can always do 10 step ups and like 10 dumbbell cleans, right? I don't care how much you hurt.
Yeah.
It's like,
you can get it done.
You can get it done. You don't want to. You're not going to want to.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But we already established, like, before the game started that you can do that. And that's really, I mean, it creates mental toughness, but it also creates, like, in those real life scenarios, it's like, it's not typically like you sprint and then you get a shot, right? Now, I do train things like that. Like, we're going to get your heart rate up, and then basically what that's emulating is just like getting that like buck fever, and we're going to try to shoot and maybe get 2 shots off with an elevated heart rate. Now, when you see a buck, it's not like you ran,
right?
But it simulates it, right?
Your adrenaline starts pumping.
Your adrenaline, but this is like, most of the time it's like, I see an elk a mile away. I need to hike up like 1,500 feet up this mountain.
Yeah, to get close.
And just to get up the mountain, and that's gonna, like, that's kind of the digging yourself in the hole. But I need to get to the top, and then I need to keep moving towards him. And like, it's not like he's right at the top for the most part, but you need to keep, it's not like you get to get to the top of the mountain and rest, like your work's done. Like that hit scenario is great, like, as like a scientific stimulus, like, it's really effective, but it's not a real life scenario. Like, rarely do you have to jack your heart rate up and then you just get to rest. There's like, rarely the scenario requires you to work that hard and then no work at all afterwards. Like, you have to keep doing something while controlling your heart rate. It's not like you keep hiking and then your heart rate still be jacked up, and then by the time you see an animal, it's like, well, I can't shoot it because I'm dead. I'm dying. You need to be able to keep moving while you control your heart rate. So that's
that makes sense.
And that's something that I work on.
Cool, man. That's awesome. No, I really like that. I've been following, and I follow your page and stuff, and I definitely see some really awesome things you guys are doing.
Sweet.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, like, how do they how do you do that?
So I've got Good Fight Systems is my website, and basically everything is on there. I have Instagram, Facebook. I think my Instagram is, I think it's Bambi by trade.
Okay.
It's kind of another story. How
I kind of remember a little bit about the story.
Bambi. But it kind of goes back to, like, when I first started doing CrossFit, I was pretty competitive, but I had been doing calisthenics for so long that, like, I was really competitive. My legs weren't there.
Yeah. The upper body was there, but the legs.
Yeah, so you imagine Bambi on ice, and my old CrossFit coach started calling me Bambi, and then my best friend, who was also a coach at that gym, just kind of, like, he started calling me Bambi, and then it just stuck. And then as I was competing, like, through sponsorships and stuff, and all my gear and jersey said Bambi, and
that's cool.
Yeah, so now my license plate says Bambi. Yeah, so Bambi by trade is my Instagram.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't post a whole lot in there.
Yeah,
I think Good Fight.
I think I mainly just follow your specific personal page.
I can't put. I'm so bad. I'm like
social media thing.
I'm so bad at like posting as a business. You know what I mean? You'll see a lot of like shed hunting. Posted on there. A lot of long nights packing out animals in the woods, and and some gym stuff as well.
Cool. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anything else you want to share with anybody's listening before we wrap it up here?
I mean, if you want to reach out, and if you're in the Sun River area and looking for a personal trainer, definitely I'm not the personal trainer that's going to give you like that flashy stuff that you see, and like that weird, like the weird stuff that personal trainers feel like obligated to do for some reason, like the Bosu ball. Like we're gonna do a squat and
a
then
single leg squat on a Bosu ball,
and then like a curl, and like it's just
it's real life stuff that's gonna get you to your goals, and
real life stuff.
It may not look super flashy and it may kind of suck at first, but you're gonna see the results tenfold.
My goal is to kind of over deliver, like undersell, and it's not gonna be easy. No one is like, typically I don't do any marketing. It's like all word of mouth. And I feel like probably not a whole lot of people who recommend me to their friends or like clients who came to me because someone recommended me because I was nice. Right? I'll be as nice as I can, but I mean my core principles, like the first one is prioritize passion over politeness. And if you tell me you want to reach a goal, I'm not gonna hold your hand until you're doing something right when you get more benefit from me telling you you're doing something wrong and not letting you get away with it. So
no, it makes a lot of sense, man. I think we're a lot alike in that respect. Just no frills, just straight up work and passion and enjoying what you're doing.
I love seeing you lift with the like it's crazy how like the knee injuries and stuff that you go through, and then
stupid.
And then I see you like it feels like a month later. And you're squatting like 500 pounds. I'm like, what?
But he just had a knee surgery. What the heck?
But
I do recover pretty quickly. But it's awesome. I'm hopefully competing in June, so I can qualify for Worlds. But once I get some records, I kind of want to go a little bit of a different path, and we can talk about that another time.
Start elk hunting.
I mean, I used to do some elk hunting and stuff.
I see your RMEF sticker.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it in the past. My dad and I used to go out quite a bit, and I just kind of haven't had the time or real passion for it at the moment.
Nice.
I like the fact of hunting and stuff, but I don't like the bringing it out and like skinning it and gutting it and all that stuff. It's not my favorite.
I had one day last year I killed my bull in Oregon, and I had to get back to Idaho, and it was super hot. It was like there's those fires going on. It was early season, and I killed this bull like right at last light. I butchered him all up, and he was like 3 miles and like 3,000 feet elevation.
Ugh, that sounds terrible.
Down this mountain, and I packed him up by myself. 2 trips, but
that's taxing.
And I remember it took me all night, packed him out, and then so the first trip it was like uphill, like straight uphill, the most straight because I parked at the top of the hill, and then
went down.
I heard the bull and just kept chasing, and then I got that trip to the top, and it was like super heavy. I think I weighed that pack, and it was like 134 pounds or something like that.
That's like carrying a person.
And I was like, because the next pack was going to be a little heavier, but I wouldn't have to carry my bow. And I was like, I'm going to move. Like, I looked on the map, and like I could move down the road a little bit, and like as the crow flies, it might be a little further, but it's not. I'm not going as high, right? In my head, but I should have like being tired from the middle of the night, being tired from packing out the first pack. I guess I didn't look at the topo lines. Like I didn't end up as high. But like it was like a mile and a half longer, and it was like up and down and up and down, and that was the second pack was so much more.
It was brutal,
miserable. But like I was in good enough shape to hunt afterwards, and like really anyone can do it. It's a matter like like you could do the same thing right now. You might not be able to hunt the next day.
Sure.
Or the day after that, but you can do it. It's a matter of, I went and killed my bull the next day in Idaho, the next day or the day after that.
That's cool.
So, yeah. Anyways, that's the plan again this year. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
When is the hunting season? September?
It's September. So yeah. So I basically right now my training is I'm kind of working on some powerlifting stuff.
Cool.
I don't do a whole lot of that, like the super heavy barbell.
Yeah.
Rarely do I like barbell back squat or barbell deadlift. I do a lot of as far as lower body, it's always lunges,
cool,
Bulgarian split squats,
those are great,
single leg RDLs, basically single leg everything.
Yeah.
And so starting basically at the end of bear season, which is end of May,
cool,
which is what I've been doing every weekend right now. Basically once my pack gets unpacked from hunting, which I'm spring bear hunting right now, then I gradually I fill that pack up with some sandbags and start
training
more and more pack training and less gym training. Last couple months before July and on, rarely will you see me doing a workout in the gym.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So
cool, man. All right, well, thanks a lot for coming out today and getting on the podcast. I'll definitely post this and I'll share it with you and everything. It's super awesome, man. Thanks, guys, for joining us today, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey of strength. If you liked this episode, please leave us a review and share with a friend. To stay connected, hit that subscribe button. All right, until next time, go heavy or go home.